Phil from the future here. Today's deck is pretty sweet. I recommend round 4. It shows off how ridiculously this deck is capable of grinding and how many haymakers you can just throw one after another. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and we're going to do a little before and after today. So John sent me this initial deck list, kind of saying, hey, I had this idea. I would like to use token producers alongside Broadside. I want to play cards like Tamiyo and Fable of the Mirrorbreaker and then use those as repeated fuel for Broadside. And I was tasked with polishing up this deck list. And I think this is a great theory moment because I think this deck, as it was originally submitted, is trying to do too much. It is trying to be an Urza's Saga Blood Moon deck to have that combo potential. It is trying to be a blue-red Stompy deck and play some cards that might shut your opponent off from winning the game. And it's trying to have synergy with Hullbreacher by playing some things like Dak Phaeton, so that you plus target your opponent and they end up discarding 2 cards while you get treasure tokens. And then it's also like trying to have an Arcbound Ravager plan to sacrifice all of these tokens in an additional way. And I think this deck is spread too thin. I think this deck is removal light. I don't think 4 lightning bolts cuts it in this current world. And Broadside is not removal on its own. It does require sacrificing some things. And I think if you are a blue Ancient Tomb deck, you should probably be playing for stock ups. So we probably want to maximize this. And so I went back to the drawing board and tried to make this a little bit more elegant. And this is what I ended up with. So I have kept the core idea the same, but I have solidified around Broadside. How do we make the best blue-red Broadside deck? And I think a couple of things need to happen to maximize this deck's potential. Number 1, I think we need Fury. Fury is so important. The ability to just 7 your opponent while removing a few of their creatures is a really, really big deal. And John originally said, do we need to go up to the 1 ring for this deck? And I think the answer is yes. Between Tamiyo stock up, the 1 ring, and Fable, I think there is absolutely a ton of card advantage here. And that card advantage can offset this stuff. You'll see that we're at roughly that 50% mana ratio that we are expecting from a Stompy deck, but we're doing that while having a better endgame than many of these decks might. Now, is our mana going to be perfect? No, absolutely not. We are essentially playing a 3-color deck. Anytime you are playing a 2-color Ancient Tomb deck, that is going to feel like a 3-color deck in terms of how much strain is on the mana base. And trying to keep this an Urza Saga deck as well may fully just be a mistake. It may be that cutting Urza Saga for more colored sources is just better than what is going on here once the Blood Moons are out of the deck, and that doesn't have the possibility of just being a game-ending combo on its own. But the deck doesn't really have answers to Barrogoyf outside of large construct tokens, or maybe occasionally you can throw a 1 ring at it and get a kill on it. So I think I'm going to keep them in and see how they feel. As far as the sideboard, I'm keeping most of the original cards that were in the deck. The deck is relatively low in terms of a blue count and is often going to be tapping out. So a lot of the traditional counterspells aren't particularly good, leading the donor to try Mindbreak Trap as something that might end up disrupting a very fast deck like Oops All Spells, while still being hard castable in a pinch in a slower combo matchup. And we'll be a little cute. We'll put a couple of Hullbreachers in the sideboard and we'll see if they do anything cool today. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into some matches here. Folks, if you need some cards, please consider getting them from my sponsor, toamagic.com, to support me. Promo code ThrabenU will save you 5% on your order. You always get free shipping, and they have awesome customer service. I sold them a whole bunch of cards in Vegas. I was in and out of there very, very quickly with a relatively generous amount of money from a vendor. With that being said, let's battle. So I'm keeping my hand. And this is a very real question. Do I play Tamiyo on turn 1 or do I just play stock up? Because one of those two cards is going to end up under a Chrome Mox. And I don't know which one it is, having played 0 games with this deck. I think I play stock up. I am very not sure. Tamiyo just walks into too many Lightning Bolt, Fatal Push, Swords to Plowshares type effects. Saga, stock up and Saga for next turn. I didn't expect to be taking a land off of that, but here we are. Yeah, and I can play Retrofitter Foundry too. This is sick. Wooded Foothills. Okay. I think I am fine committing to this so that this is not dazable if this is a secret blue deck. It does mean specifically if I draw a Tamiyo, things are awkward though. I think I'm always playing this Urza Saga. Let's play around the days. Gaining stock ups together feels really strong. Or if this is a green deck, and I'll just take a red card that pitches to it. I'll take the Fable. I'm not sure how good it actually is. Like, I could very much take Spirit Guide there to attempt to play Broadside. Plus, I'm going to let you untap with your Dryad Arbor. I'm not going to just Fury that alone right there. I'll get more out of it. That just feels like obvious bait. Yeah, no, I just get more out of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, Fury. GG's, basically. Do I want to play Broadside over making a token here? Yeah, I think I do. Just be Volcanic Island. There's Broadside. Send in. Opponent takes 2. Now I'll Fury. Pitching a Fable. Put the Evoke on bottom. And then go bam, bam, and bam. Everybody dying. Damage is dealt simultaneously, so this is dead before Dryad Arbor is in the graveyard. Then we'll throw Fury at my opponent's face. They are at 9. And potentially dead next turn. If I draw something big to throw with Broadside. I can also just make a small token here. I have Lava Spur Boots in this deck still, right? I didn't take that out. Yeah. Lava Spur probably kills my opponent next turn. Allen Gates. Let's take 2, make a friend. Okay, yeah, opponent is just done with me here. Fury, very, very good against my opponent's deck. We're somewhere in the Cradle Control ballpark. I think I'm going to board a Grafdigger's Cage in here, get rid of Retrofitter Foundry, and then, like, there are some secondary cards that I can think about playing. Basically, if I use stock up and the One Ring to find Fury consistently, I'm going to be in very good shape. I don't need to sideboard much here, I don't think. Tamiyo does not attack Planeswalkers like Grist. Tamiyo is not red for pitching to Fury. I could see like 2 Tamiyos just becoming Fiery Confluences for a mid-game sweeper. And that being about right. At some point, the Fiery Confluences stop killing everything my opponent has. I know we don't have Moon, but this deck sure feels a lot like Blue Moon from Modern eons ago. I don't know if that deck is still around. This is just turn 2, the One Ring. Presumably that's just fine. See which mana dork my opponent has. It is Hierarch. I did not squeeze a Surveil land into this mana base. I should have edited this mana base a little bit more. I do not need 3 fucking basic islands in this deck. Those were in there when Blood Moon was still in the deck. Just play a Tarn. There's a white and Cradle. Ooh, that's a little rough. I'll go get a Volk. And now this just becomes Broadside nonsense. I'm thinking about whether or not I want to Urza Saga plus Spirit Guide, play Broadside, attack in immediately. My life points are a little precious here. I think I'm going to play Island. And we'll see if my opponent wants to block this when I attack. They do not. This would be the biggest Fury blowout of all time. But I don't have it. You had Snuff out and you just, like, let me get in there? Okay. If my opponent has something gross like Natural Order, they've got the opportunity here. It seems like this is worse than just attacking with 2 bodies. This is 3 damage versus 4 or more. So when that white gets tapped, I would like to kill Collector Oof. I'm just going to do this and pass holding up Lightning Bolt. Alright, opponent not going for anything immediately. I might in combat Bolt Collector Oof, and this potentially saves me some points of life while killing Noble Hierarch. Talon Gates from hand. It does have the 4 mana activated ability. Sure. That's what I thought was going to happen, but I thought it was going to require the sacrificing of this creature. I will take 3. 13. Tamiyo. So I could play the One Ring as Fog and draw a card with it. I honestly think I'm just going to try to overpower my opponent's stuff in a fair capacity. I don't think they have something like Natural Order, based on what I'm seeing so far. It is another Snuff Out. Opponent at 9. Yikes. Okay. That is obviously very bad for me. Alright, this time my opponent spreads it out over 2 bodies. I think I will just go ahead and take all of it. Ancient Tomb, not what I am looking for here. I am just playing an Urza's Saga and hoping for the best. Dryad Arbor from my opponent. Another big play. Is it just another Force of Vigor? Yeah. Yikes. I mean, that'll probably do it. What are we? Okay. So I am at 5. Nope, we're going to sack the Dryad Arbor. So we have 4 instead. Getting Lair of the Hydra for a little bit of reach for next turn. Which is, like, very annoying, given that Fiery Confluence was a potential out. And Fog at 2, but my artifact mana isn't on, so I can't actually get to Fiery Confluence, and even if I do, Lair of the Hydra probably gets me. Fine tapping out there. So now the big thing that has changed is that I know my opponent has a bunch of Snuff Outs. Tamiyo can still serve as bait so that other creatures can live later on, I guess. That's a little weird. I think I'm in for it. It loses a very large amount of life between the One Ring and double Ancient Tomb. I think it's just too powerful to not keep. One Ring is a very, very busted Magic card. So this is mostly serving the purpose of getting the first Snuff Out of hand. Verdant. Snuff Out is online. Snuff Out has been used. And a Dork. So let's get this ticking up. Drawing a red mana source to Lightning Bolt immediately would be cool. Yeah. No, but there's another Lightning Bolt. We'll take it. Possible that I could eat a Bowmasters. There's a Green Sun for a Dryad Arbor. Not sure why we're chilling in combat. I have protection from everything here. Yep. Alright, great. There's mana. I'm good playing that immediately. Broadside. My mana's a little awkward here. I think it's just better to Lightning Bolt. And I think I'm going to go for the Reclaimer. And I waste some theoretical mana that could be going into things, but I think that's fine. So not going after Dryad Arbor is awkward specifically if my opponent has Natural Order. Otherwise, this is fine. And I already have Lightning Bolt for Collector Oof, or Broadside for Collector Oof, or both. I'll take my damage. I will Lightning Bolt the Oof. I will draw some cards. Yeah, there's red mana. I'm going to play a Broadside. Out as a thing that exists. I'm going to go ahead and not play Lava Spur Boots. Send in with Broadside. Opponent's at 12. I think I just throw the One Ring at their face. I am a little worried about just dying to my One Ring if I leave it there. And I think double Broadside next turn is good enough to win through a lot of stuff. And if my opponent had Natural Order, that would have happened last turn rather than Collector Oof. Fetch land. Let's see what they're working with. A second fetch. What's 5 mana? Green Sun for X equals 4? Green Sun for X equals 4. Questing Beast? Initiative creature? Overpaying for Grist. I see. Yeah, that's fine. I will just double Broadside. My opponent can't snuff out. They are at 4 life. So, Broadside, Tamiyo, and we take that down. Opponent had a land left over. I thought that was pretty close. Like, if my opponent had drawn a natural order, that would have been bad for me. They had 5 lands, right? Or, the 5th land was counting the Dryad Arbor. I could have just thrown the One Ring at the Dryad Arbor, but I think closing the game is a good idea. GG, so. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you want to see upcoming sets, if you want to understand commander brackets, or if you just want an awesome place to store all, and I mean all, of your deck lists, Moxfield is the place. You can organize all of your decks by folders, and you can even change the views. You like visual, they've got that. You like text, they've got that. Check out my Moxfield Pro Field if you want to see all, and I mean all, of the decks that I've been cooking up. Okay, I've definitely got to keep. I have to figure out how to play it. I can just like play Tamiyo and Urza Saga on one and then funnel a bunch of mana into Urza Saga over the next couple of turns. But that's really variable for whether or not that's a good idea depending on the matchup. I think I'm just going to try leading on Tamiyo. And then next turn I play a strong 3-drop card that varies depending on what I see from my opponent here. I think against unknown blue deck, I just play Fable this turn. I'm going to Chrome Mox. I think I'm going to imprint stock up. I don't even know if I play the Urza Saga yet. I just have such good things to do with my mana between casting my spells and cracking clues and trying to get Broadside into play for the token synergy. I don't really know where I fall on that. Into Brainstorm, that's fine. I will say, without running my... Oh, there it fucking is. Without running my own brainstorms, the Tamiyos are certainly worse. Oh, opponent does not have more mana. I don't have game 1 counter spells. 1, 2, 3, 4 mana, kind of 5 mana. What do I want to find? The One Ring, I guess? I'm going to loot a Broadside and Urza's Saga. I guess that's a way to flip my Tamiyo. I'll plus that. I'm just playing out Fury as a double striker. And next turn I throw it. I think I'm going to crack this clue token immediately. See if I draw the One Ring. It is a new Tamiyo. Okay. So let's go bam, bam, bam. Daze is fine. Go to combat, send in, get a treasure token that allows me to play a new Tamiyo. The Underground Sea comes back. Opponent does have Reanimate. I could sacrifice my Planeswalker here. I think I will. I'm at 13. There's Fury. So I think I attack. I get in there with Goblin Shaman token. Hope my opponent blocks. Nice. 2 damage marked on that creature. And play Fury. Hopefully Force of Will is not involved. Thank you, Force of Will. Very cool. There's a Fatal Push, taking out my blocker. I now need to draw the One Ring, I guess. This is obviously not good. I am dead. Anyway, this is what these are for. Probably Aether Spellbomb and maybe even Brazen Borrower as well. Let's get like Retrofitter Foundry and maybe Shadow Spear out of there. Sub in for those. Maybe get rid of Tamiyos. And go down on Furies, keep a couple for dealing with things like Orcish Bowmasters. I am looking forward to never playing against this deck in its current iteration again. Chrome Box plus Urza Saga is obviously great, but I just have nothing to imprint here. Yikes. I mean, I guess. Not happy about it. I'm not going to Chrome Box. It's borderline. The issue with not Chrome Moxing is that if my opponent thought seizes me and takes it, my hand gets a lot worse. Thank you. But since I have 2 monocolored cards here, a little awkward. Like I could Chrome Mox imprint Fable to play specifically around that and hold up Petty Theft for my opponent's turn. Oh, they're going for the One Ring instead. Okay. All Chrome Mox. I now can imprint the Brazen Borrower since I drew a basic mountain, effectively. That gives me a little selection for next turn. And the mana I need to get to the One Ring. I am not interested in Chrome Mox. Discard that. Not really interested in Spirit Guide either, but sometimes you gotta do the sad beats. Sometimes you just gotta cast the 2/2 Ape Spirit. And I could, again, the One Ring, stock up, Tamiyo, those are the sorts of things that I'm looking for right now. Bitter Triumph, that's the discard exile removal spell? No, destroy. Got it. Looted Delta follows up the Brainstorm. So the fetch is online. This isn't exactly fantastic, but I'll play it out so nothing too weird happens in combat. I don't think I want to cycle the Spell Bomb. I think I want to be able to bounce a Goyf out of play. So this can chill here. Fetch for the Brainstorm. 4th mana. Hey, there's a Goyf. So now the question is, do I bounce it out of play immediately? I think no, it still dies to red removal as of right now. I think I'm going to take a draw and see if I hit red removal. I did not. So I could bounce it out of play, hit my opponent down to 3, which is kind of effectively 5. And then in theory, swing in for lethal. In theory. I think I am going to see if this resolves. It does. Then I think I will go ahead and bounce this out of play and send in. Opponent's at 3. Got a Ponder. That do. I assume it shuffled based on how quickly it was. Yes. There is the concession. The Goyf was very close to taking over that game. And that's a problem with the current blue-black Reanimator deck. Even when you shut off the graveyard completely, it is still just so easy for them to win with Tamiyo's, not Murktides, Tamiyo's Goyfs, the secondary plan. This seems approximately fine. When we start getting into the mid-game, I really want Tamiyo. But I am having trouble seeing where, what I cut for Tamiyo. I think the Petty Theft / Brazen Borrowers are really important for Goyf specifically. This is a fine opening hand that does not shut off the graveyard. I have to decide whether or not I'm willing to keep it. I'm just stone cold dead to the reanimation stuff. And I also don't have red mana. I think I'll mulligan this one. I think if I get out of the early game with a Leyline of the Void, I am very likely to do something strong in the mid game. This hand has problems, but it has a Leyline and 3 mana on turn 1. Hopefully I don't lose the Chrome Mox to a Thoughtseize. Fetch a basic, there's a Thoughtseize. You hate to see it. But again, my deck is roughly 50% mana, so hopefully that ends up being fine. I think I'm going to take 2 to straight up cycle this card and get deeper in my deck. So there's the second land drop. One is Cemented versus Blood Moon effects. Wow, they've got Thunder Trap Trainer or Force of Will. And now I'm going to awkwardly durdle for a little while until I find mana. At the point where I find mana, this stuff is not problematic. But, we can miss. Opponent gets their clue. 16. And just cracks immediately. Hits the land drop. No further cantrip. Grafdigger's Cage, not very good with the Leyline in play. I think I am going to play it anyway. My life total is not super relevant with just this otter going after me. And I don't necessarily want to just get got by a reanimate on my stuff in a little bit. So 1 more damage, 1 more clue. 13. Ponder plus clue turns Tamiyo into a Planeswalker, which I don't love. Underground Sea 2. Alright, so Lightning Bolt is now just a touch late. I'm going to, I think, just throw Fable out there immediately. I know that my opponent has a Force of Will. So there's a good chance that this gets Force of Willed or Dazed. And we're actually Hydroblast. And we're actually trying to resolve the One Ring. That didn't happen. We've got the Ponder. A Brainstorm follows it up. Fetch to clear the Brainstorm. Inquisition. The opponent wanted more discard than just a playset of Thoughtseize. And a Thoughtseize, so I lose the One Ring. No, I lose a Lightning Bolt. So opponent's just planning on winning the game with Tamiyo Ultimate. And I know my opponent has Force of Will. So I'm going to, I think, concede once this spell does not resolve. Oh, and I have Force of Negation too. Yeah, this goes to 8. I can bolt it. I guess I could draw the One Ring, and the card on top is a red land. And then I could keep the Tamiyo from ultimating at 5. And about to be in a thunderstorm. Okay, at this point I am confident that I'm going to lose to the Tamiyo Ultimate. Yep, I am not going to miss these play patterns of, like, decide whether or not you want to beat the Reanimator portion of the deck. Let me rephrase that. I am tired of being put in a situation where I have to simultaneously respect a turn 2 combo kill while also trying to outvalue all the things this deck is doing. But hopefully by the time this video is live, that problem has been solved for us. Alright, opponent said hello, and they are apparently playing a brew. So we'll see how their brew stacks up versus my questionable pile of blue-red cards. Honestly, this deck has felt pretty good so far. Minus the obvious too many copies of Basic Island. Speaking of Basic Island, the Saga ticks up. We're just going to do Ancient Tomb things this game, and then we have a strong endgame for if that doesn't quite pan out. I'm gonna see what's going on outside. Okay, it's all good. It's just wind. Charlotte had some, absolutely crazy storms yesterday, so I just wanted to keep an eye out. So that was Island, Tap It, Think Better of It. Second main phase Hipster. Okay, so they're gonna dress down into a Dreadnought, but then I can make my Urza Saga token at end step, so this is fine. Okay, yeah, so there's the Dreadnought. And so then this goes away, and I will make my Urza Saga Construct token. The Dreadnought as a 12/12 is hard to get rid of. Maybe we end up trying to lifelink our way through it, or just getting lethal with Broadside next turn. I think I'm trying to deal 18 damage next turn. Let's Chrome Mox, imprint a stock up. I don't want to attack into these. I'm going to go Mountain, Shadow Spear. Ooh, Boots. My Broadside's not looking that great. I have 9 damage, 11 with Broadside, 13 with Broadside Throw. That doesn't feel like enough. I could draw the One Ring. One Ring as Fog is really fucking good right now. There's Island. I'm just gonna eat this to the face. 9 plus 2, 11. That's not 12 to just block this. Yeah, I'm just short here. I could try to do a chump block thing that, like, keeps me alive one more turn, but I don't think that is doing it for me. So my Urza Sagas are naturally going to get worse here. I'm into Brazen Borrower to bounce Dreadnoughts and maybe Null Drifters. I might just straight up play Hull Breacher as a card here. Spellbomb is a way to bounce Dreadnoughts out of play. Fury plus Broadside is cool. What are my opponent's small creatures going to be? Unsure. I think I'm going to board out Lightning Bolts and keep Furies for this game. The Furies have power and toughness. I don't know. I've brought in 4 blue cards, though. Maybe that's just sketch. This is not enough mana. This is a little sketchy. I think I'm in, and I put the One Ring back into the deck. I'm just not ready for it. Let's start on Tamiyo. Ooh, wow. Force of Will. Opponent has Urza Saga of their own. That's not overly surprising. I'll play my own Urza Saga. So the Urza Saga is there not necessarily to make construct tokens, because their own dress downs will mess those up, but it's a way to tutor for Dreadnought. I am kind of wanting to just play Broadside, get that resolved and in play, and then I try to Fury away construct tokens next turn. But maybe I should just grind Urza Saga value. It's weird because sometimes my opponent doesn't actually make the tokens because they're going to just dress down. Saga ticks up, I think I need to make this now in case my opponent is about to Pithing Needle Urza Saga. As long as my Fury resolves, I'm in pretty good shape despite this awkwardness. An Ancient Tomb. So I'll float my mana here. I think I just want to get Chrome Box, because I'm about to lose some mana sources. I think I'm going to get red from this. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to overpay here as to not get another Urza Saga ticking up immediately. So there's a Fury. Take out one of those. This one shrinks, but it's still not enough to be lethal immediately. So I have the stronger board. I'm about to get a piece of equipment that I will just floop onto Fury. Like, I straight up might just give it lifelink and trample and go from there. Alright, there's Null Drifter. That was something that I'd already called out as, like, expected in this deck. The opponent now needs something to manage the board. I guess, like, a Hydroblast on the Fury could be pretty hot. Alright, you've got Chrome Mox as well. Force going under. There is a Dress Down held up here. We'll just go ahead and float mana. I think I'm in for Shadow Spear equipped to Fury. And then I still have stock up for second main phase. Actually, I guess I could do it now to see if I hit another artifact, in which case I probably should not have equipped immediately. Ooh, booties. I actually don't mind booties plus equip. Just focus on the short term here very strongly. Okay, opponent is just dead. They did not have Dress Down or anything. Does anything change knowing that my opponent has Urza Saga? Like, at that point, does Fiery Confluence start making sense? It can clear the tokens, and also it's just a thing that kills a Dreadnought. Sure, I could buy that. What comes out for it? 2 Tamiyo? Why not Force of Will Tamiyo? I think I'm fine with this. I feel strangely about Tamiyo in this deck. I don't think it's bad necessarily, but I'm not getting to the point where I'm actually cracking clues before my opponent dies or I am dead. This is an assortment of reasonable Magic the Gathering cards that don't do anything quickly at all. I think I'm going to mulligan this. Oh, that's weird. I've got the speed. I don't quite have the stability down. It's a little weird. I might end up having to Chrome Mox a Fiery Confluence if I don't draw a red source. I think this one top decks a lot better. Now, if I hit any sort of Fable nonsense, it is just actively strong. Don't have a Surveil land. I think I'm just going to throw this up and pass. I don't think I want to do something crazy like play a Spirit Guide as an attacker immediately. 4 mana. Oh, okay. That I was not expecting. That would have bitten me in the butt if I was just trying to keep on the strength of the One Ring. Okay. Don't love this. So Chrome Mox is not good. Shadow Spear is not good. This used to be able to fucking kill Planeswalkers, and then they changed the rules on me. So now we are on sad Spirit Guide beats. And maybe we draw like a Broadside or something to supplement this, and we can deal with the Karn. Given this pause, though, it seems like my opponent has a counterspell. Alright. Simon Spirit Guide ate a counterspell. Like, good for you, bud. See what Karn tutors for. Like, is there a Dreadnought in the board as a tutor target? They're just going for coding. Yep. So even if my opponent does not Karn plus immediately, they can just use it like a Rishadan port and keep me from casting Fiery Confluence this turn. And then on future turns, it just becomes full-on land destruction. I am hovering over 2 things that answer that, but I don't know that I'm going to get lucky enough for those to happen. I'm going to put Shadow Spear in play in respect of potentially throwing it with Broadside in a minute. But I'm going to lose Ancient Tomb immediately. I can also just top deck another Ancient Tomb, and at that point I can Fiery Confluence. And I'll still have problems, but there will be a chance. Oh, they were going for a Valk instead of Ancient Tomb. I mean, yes. Let's stock up. Rough. Alright. Obviously not good. They're going after the basic island. That doesn't really make much sense to me with Valk right here. I think this is just functionally better. And if I drew a red source there, I get 2 Fiery Confluence and blow this up while dealing a bunch of damage to my opponent. With an optimized mana base, we're out from under liquid metal coating here because I wouldn't have probably more than 1 basic island. But we don't have that. I'm going to cast this, and unless this is just insane, I think I concede here. Fury? I'm going to take Fury, Tamiyo, throw down Tamiyo, and then maybe I can do something against this. My opponent has unchecked One Ring and unchecked Karn, though. Oh, are we fully just at Torpor Orb? I see. Rip my Fury. Was not expecting that specifically. Now Dreadnought is in play. Alright. Red source. Red source. Damn. Well, I can put 2 3/3 double strikers into play. That don't kill things, but I can put them into play. I think at this point I am good tapping out. GG's. Alrighty. Opening hand is pretty good here. We are just gonna play out some broadsides and attack fairly with them before we probably combo finish with Fury. Opponent's at 18 to start off the game. My creature has resolved. Tapped Mystic Sanctuary. Maybe I get to hardcast this Fury. Play this land. Yeah. Opponent's at 14. I could fling for 7 here. I don't really think I need to do that. Opponent's pondering. They probably want to have a Swords to Plowshares type card available for what happens next. Alright, there's the plains that represents it. And I think I'm just gonna fetch and thin a land out of deck here. Lightning Bolt. Sure, I'm gonna go ahead and attack with these. Yeah, that's fine. Send in for 2. Opponent's at 12. Brightness at any cost or something. I'm gonna play Fury. Now, do I want to capture it in as a 7 damage burn spell immediately? I think I'm good with that, given that I have Lightning Bolt in hand. My opponent is probably incidentally going to deal 2 damage to themselves over the course of this game. Ooh, they are Bant, so that means life gain like Uro is on the table. Prismatic Ending. Sure. Oh, hell yeah. This is a little weird in terms of using the Lightning Bolt immediately. I think I'm not planning on using the Lightning Bolt immediately. There's also things like Tamiyo. Let's save the life, though. Alright, cool. Fable as a draw. Great. Opponent has Mystic Sanctuary in a mana base that looks ambitious for Mystic Sanctuary. Under it is. So I don't think we're going to be playing against something like Nadu, seeing Mystic Sanctuary. I think this is just going to be a Bant control, or maybe more than Bant. More than Bant. Sure. Okay. I have theoretical lethal with just bolts available here. I'm going to go ahead and Fable, and then I will just pass the turn. I don't need to fire these off at face immediately. Now, if my opponent taps his Volcanic Island, though, we're going in. They didn't. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Green mana. I think this is the moment. Bolt to face. Opponent's at 2. This is a must counter spell. And opponent is dead. So we did not see black mana. We saw the other colors. I don't think Mystic Sanctuary is viable in their mana base. The good news is the Tamiyo stock-ups and One Rings are what we want for this matchup, and those were already in the main deck. I'm probably just going to find a way to stick Hull Breachers in there, maybe Pithing Needle in there for Planeswalkers, and call it good. When I see more of their deck, I can decide whether or not like Spell Bombs and Grafdigger's Cages are important for things like Uro. As is, I think I'm going to turn Shadow Spear into Pithing Needle and go down 2 Lightning Bolts and call that good. And then I can do some finessing from there. This is fine. The biggest decision will be when I play Urza's Saga, because I can just go in on it on turn 1. Or I can play a mid-range game of like play out Fable and stock ups and stuff for a little while. I don't think I would care if I get Wastelanded. Alright, there's the Wasteland. Again, with 5 lands in hand, I don't actually think that's all that much of a detriment. I think Hull Breacher is the next card I am interested in playing. Basic Plains. Well, let's just drop our Ancient Tomb and pass. We are just playing some good draw go. I'll take 2 here. No immediate swords. I'm interested in Fable this turn. Endurance specifically is a reason not to attack with this. That might be me being too afraid. Alright, it is a swords. So let's Fable. And I think next turn becomes the Urza's Saga turn. And I am fine using this as an actual card. I don't know if I'm actually going to loot with Fable of the Mirrorbreaker. My hand's pretty stacked. I guess the Broadside is maybe the worst card in my hand, but like that is clearly not a bad card. Island off Lorien revealed, which is played out. We'll see what my opponent finds. So they did not shuffle. I think I just say no here. I think I am in to play Urza's Saga, to play Broadside, with intention of second main phase stock up. Swords keeps Broadside from attacking, but Broadside saves the Goblin Shaman token from the removal spell, which is actually the card that I care about more right now, oddly. Like, with double stock up here, I just have so much to do with my mana. That gets a Force of Will pitching a Ponder, which is honestly fine. So I'm just going to start making Urza Saga Construct tokens and probably giving them haste. This is ending on Fable. Ooh, it's Wrath of the Skies instead. But it's letting me keep the Fable itself, which is like fine. So I will just go ahead and stock up again. Tamiyo. Mana's not perfect here for me to deploy cards this turn. I might just take the most value-oriented cards. Tamiyo and Fable. Drop Urza Saga and pass. Miss my haste from boots. Now, is this prismatic ending? Now it's ending. Okay. So I will just throw down a new Fable, because the Shaman token can grow my Urza Saga tokens meaningfully. And we will just we will continue to try to keep grinding our opponent into the dust. They don't have like an Up the Beanstalk or a Planeswalker or something going yet. That is going to let them keep up with what I am doing. So I'll make a friend. Seems like opponent is going to act now on something. Leyline Binding is possible. Force of Vigor? Force of Vigor, sure. Lol. Lol, 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 lol. I mean, this is what this deck is designed to do, right? Consign to memory that last card. Ooh, it is. Oh no, I'll just have to play my Tamiyo then. Oh no. Anyway. So this is 4 damage. And now I have 2 things that will grow this construct token on future turns. Lorien revealed for a draw 3 is pretty nice. That's exactly the sort of card that my opponent needed. Well, I'll do that. I will send in with the squad. The construct token is going to grow by 2 here, putting my opponent to 3 life, which means I can throw Tamiyo at their face for 3. You tried, opponent. Like, really, you put up a great fight, all things considered, but I have so much card advantage here, coupled with the mana to actually keep those cards flowing out. GG's. Okie dokie. Final round here. I am on the draw. I really need another mana source. I think I'm just going to trust in Fable of the Mirrorbreaker. Percy is wandering around in the background. I need to let him out in a minute. Soul Guide Lantern. Sure. I'll play my own Urza Saga. I'll play Chrome Mox. I want a red card under here. I think that's Lightning Bolt. And I'm going to floop down Fable and make my token. And then hopefully with my draw step and the Fable looting, this turns into something reasonable. My opponent has a 2-2 queued up, but I will have a 2-2 and a 3-3. I think I'm going to loot away at least Tamiyo. I'm unsure how much I want stock up as of right now. I think I'm going to get rid of it. Ooh, the One Ring. Don't mind that. I think I'm going to go ahead and offer Goblin Shaman out here or Urza Saga Construct token. Looks like opponent is going to accept. I imagine I have inevitability here with Broadside. The One Ring, solid mana. A little hard to tell before I see some more cards from my opponent, though. Want out, bud? No was the answer. He did not want out. Opponent's floating their mana, so I was supposed to click Urza Saga there in case there's a game 1 Pithing Needle. Candelabra. Interesting. Sure. New Urza Saga. It's a Golos. You've got it. That's unexpected. Getting Planar Nexus. Okay. Let's Saga. And I think I am good with continuing to make these construct tokens so that I can attack through Golos. I want Lava Spur Boots. I think I'm fine with Lava Spur Boots. Just putting the immediate pressure on my opponent that gets them dead next turn. But what I want to do here is actually Ancient Tomb. Like an Ancient Tomb, do this, make a copy of a construct token, and then my opponent concedes. Excellent. So are we like Golos, Cloud Post, Ramp, like Big Ugins sort of nonsense, probably? Let's assume that these are reasonable, this is okay, and there's probably going to be enough artifacts that this is not embarrassing to play. If the One Ring is going on, Hull Breacher is reasonable. I'm going to assume that my Lightning Bolts are bad unless proven otherwise. I'm going to assume Retrofitter Foundry is bad. Is Shadow Spear necessary? It might not be. Sort this. I'm a little glutted at 3. That's not super fair. Those are really 2 drops in a funny hat. I only need 1 cut here. I can just probably trim a Tamiyo, and that is perfectly reasonable. Depending on how turbo my opponent is, Mindbreak Trap also might not be crazy. It's a pretty medium-looking hand. I feel like speed matters in this matchup. Yeah. This is turn 2 Hull Breacher. I'm going to get rid of a land. And I'm just fully assuming that my opponent is a One Ring deck. Oh, that's a pretty nice hit, honestly. Play some booties. There's Tower, there's Monolith. My opponent's next turn, likely to be a banger. I'm going to Chrome Mox, and I think hold open Hull Breacher. I think that's my approach here. And we're hoping that my opponent plays the One Ring or something else that draws cards, or a Planeswalker that can reasonably be attacked. Alright, opponent takes no actions. Well, Hull Breacher. We'll see if it eats a Kozilek's command. It does. Now I need to use stock up to find something cool to do. Let's assume Broadside is good, and I'll just take an island to deploy a Tamiyo immediately. Okay, Mr. Percy wants out. And then I'll pass the turn. I'm not going to give up another card to, like, get a clue immediately or anything. Alright, that's Big Ugin. Which presumably is just going to obliterate me. So 1, 2, 3, play it, whip it. No. Now I need to, like, draw the One Ring to try to power through that or hit my Pithing Needle. It's turn 5. I don't have any permanents that are 1 or more colors for the exile on this. But if I don't hit Ugin in this next turn, my opponent just wins the game with the -11. So, you know, it's untapping Grim Monolith. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5? A shame I don't have 1 extra mana for this ability. I think we're going bam, 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 bam. That's just enough to keep it from ultimating while clearing the board. But then my opponent is just going to cast a spell and exile this. This is obviously overcosted by legacy standards, but when you're playing a deck that can support it, holy shit, it is good. That's Golos. I lose Fury. Opponent gets an Urza Saga too. So every turn we're in kind of this Ugin abyss, where if I don't deal some damage to Ugin, I die. Alright. Unbreak Trap's not crazy. Just legitimately as a 4-mana counterspell at the end game that can also do some things versus some of the Grim Monolith nonsense at the beginning of the game. Yeah, I think I'm going to play these. Go down some more Tamiyos. I don't mind Tamiyo, but I don't think I need the Ring and Stock Up and Fable and Tamiyo in every single matchup. This is reasonable. I don't know that I'd go full on good, but it's reasonable. And I think I am not going to imprint immediately to have Petty Theft available. There's some variation in what I might want to end up imprinting. Oh yeah. I think I'm just imprinting this. Fury represents a big punch. Glimmer Post. Grim Monolith. Storm is 1. Storm is 2. Yeah. Hopefully I just draw a red card and Fury deals with this. Negative. I will send in at Karn. Opponent still has reasonable mana. I'm short of hardcasting this Mindbreak Trap. Unfortunately, Ancient Tomb from my opponent into Golos. Get Planar Nexus or Glimmer Post or Cloud Post or whatever. Yeah. The plus on nothing. Totally fine if I draw a red card. Totally fine if I draw a land. Kind of like a land. I think this is attack face, throw at Karn for 7. This drops my opponent to 16. Fury, Junk, Spirit Guide. 4 damage marked on Golos. Throw Fury at Karn. This is not the land that I wanted to be able to follow this up with the One Ring. I'm very worried that an Ugin just comes down, exiles my Broadside, and I am in terrible shape. I am a mana short of countering it. Yep. That's so much loyalty. I mean, as it should at 7 mana. So, Storm is just 1. Storm is 2. Storm is 3. I think since I'm tapping out for a land... Pass by doing 0. I think since I am tapping out for a land... I'm sorry, if I draw a land, I am tapping out for the One Ring. I just do that this turn. I'll take 3 from this. That's not really what I wanted. Could technically do something versus Ugin, but at this point, these are bad. Old Reacher. How do you have the Dismember? No nice things for me. Did not even get to deny that draw. Just another Saga. Yikes. I think we found a deck that can outgrind us. Although I don't know if that's really fair. Like, we just got stuck on mana, right? 13. At this point, I don't pressure the Ugin ultimates, and that is game winning. So we put some wins on the board, but we fell a little short today. Alrighty. Overall thoughts on the deck list. So, obviously, the 2 of these should not be basic islands. Outside of that, this was a pretty good upgrade to what I was originally sent. I would need some more matches with this to figure out what is the weak link here. The blue cards were very good. I know that I boarded out Tamiyo a handful of times, but Stock Up in particular, potentially finding me like the One Ring and a Fable or cards of that approximate caliber, that is quite strong. This is a Moon Stompy deck that does not run out of gas at the cost of some consistency and mana-based problems and like being weaker versus Wasteland. I don't think that is a bad thing as a whole. The blue gives you access to some things like Brazen Borrower that means that you can bounce Goyfs out of play. I am unsure if this really needs to be an Urza Saga deck or if you can just play more consistent mana and have a couple other early game threats. Like without true cantrips, I don't know that you get to, play something like DRC or Delver that these decks, blue-red decks often would play. Maybe you can change things around a little bit, get a few more spells in there. Maybe Corey Steelcutter starts to look attractive. I don't know one way or another if you're going to be able to get the blue count high enough to make Force of Will make sense in this deck. I also don't know whether or not this is better than just playing like blue-red Show and Tell with Stock Ups and the One Ring. Because like that is doing the same sort of thing. Is the fair creature stuff we're doing here better than Show and Tell, Atraxa, Sneak Attack, Archon of Cruelty, that sort of stuff? Unclear. But I am, generally speaking, happy with how this performed. I think we used everything in the sideboard today. Fiery Confluence was a little awkward because of the multiple islands. Maybe your artifact hate needs to be something more at the Abrade level of mana. because this deck does have a lot of top end, so you want to find efficient answers rather than expensive ones. So maybe you just want an Abrade that can exile the One Ring. I think Suplex is one of them. I think, what is it? Into the Fire is another. Those are the sort of things I would be thinking about. I also don't think you need the Retrofitter Foundry in the main deck. I think I activated it in match 1, but otherwise I think that was one of my most frequent board out targets. Maybe you get like the Spell Bomb or the Cage in game 1, and then you free up another sideboard slot as well. I boarded in Hullbreacher. I don't know whether or not it should actually be in the board over other cards, but that was not embarrassing to be playing, even if we didn't necessarily do the thing. So I hope that gives you a good take on a good update on your original deck and gives you some food for thought for brewing. With that, I think I am going to call it a day here. And remember, if you need some cards, you know where to go to support me. Promo code ThrabenU. All right. See you.